Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we'll learn a very important concept in the electro-pneumatic system. It is the latch concept. So I have a problem here, and after reading this, you'll see what is the abnormality in this problem. So it says that a double acting cylinder is to be controlled by a 5x2 DCV. So obviously, to control a double acting cylinder, we need a 5x2 DCV. And it will be single solenoid and it has to be spring returned. When push button PB1 is pressed, cylinder should extend and remain in that position. So this line is the abnormality. It has to remain in that position. But in the normal means, the spring at the right side of this DCV will push the cylinder to retract position. It won't remain in that extended position when PB1 is released. The cylinder is to retract completely when PB2 is pressed. So I have another push button here. In addition, the cylinder is to remain in the retracted position even when PB2 is released. The thing is, I have two push buttons, PB1 and PB2. If I push the PB1 push button, then the cylinder will extend but remain in that position, although we have a spring on the right side. And vice versa, if PB2 is pressed, then the cylinder has to retract. So the question is that develop a electro-pneumatic control circuit with an electrical latching. This is the electrical latching concept with dominant off and dominant on. So let me explain these two concepts for you, dominant off and dominant on. So let's begin. Now for the dominant on, I need two push buttons. And I need a limit switch. Also, I need a relay. And finally, another limit switch. Now I'm going to identify this. This is PB1. This is PB2. The relay is K1. This limit switch will sense K1. Also, this limit switch will sense K1. So understand very carefully. So when PB1 is pressed, current will flow here. This relay coil will energize and this K1 limit switch will get closed. So current is flowing here and it also energizing this coil. And because of this, all K1 is closed now. This one is closed, this one is closed. So if I release this push button PB1, so this is released, open, then what happens? Does this relay coil disengage? Absolutely not, because a signal is flowing here because K1 is closed. So this is the concept of latching circuit. I am just pressing the PB1 and a permanent connection is made. This is the concept of latching. So what is the deal about dominant on and dominant off? Very simple. If PB1 and PB2 both are pressed simultaneously, what happens? PB1 is normally open. If I press this, then it will get closed and a connection will get made. K1 energizes and this circuit is closed. And for this normally closed push button, it will open. There will be no flow on this part. But still, when I'm pressing these two, the coil energizes and a connection is made. So this is dominant on. So in a sense, if both push buttons are pressed, I have to see whether this circuit is active or inactive. So in this case, the circuit is active. So this is dominant on. Now let's see dominant off. So I'll draw the push buttons again. So watch carefully. The arrangement is completely different. So this is PB1. This is PB2, which is normally closed. PB1 is normally open. And this is relay K1. This limit switch will sense K1 and this one will sense K1 also. When I push PB1, Then this push button will get closed. A connection is formed, and this is closed PB2. So this K1 relay coil is energized. So this limit switch will be closed and a connection is made, still energizing this relay coil K1. So ultimately there is a connection. Okay. For the dominant off concept, if I push this PB1 and PB2 simultaneously, what will happen? So PB1 will get closed and PB2 will get open. Ultimately, there will be no connection and this relay coil K1 will not get energized. So this K1 or limit switch is open and this limit switch is also open. So no connection is formed. So in a sense, if both push buttons are pressed, this circuit remains deactivated. So this is dominant off concept. So now let's solve this problem based on the dominant off and dominant on concept. First, I need a double acting cylinder. I need a 5x2 DCV. The right side is spring returned and the left side is solenoid operated. Okay, now let's start with the dominant off. Okay, so this is the circuit. First I have PB1, then this is my PB2, this is my relay K1, and this limit switch will sense K1, and this is my solenoid Y1. And the left side of this 5x2 DCV, I will connect Y1. Okay, this is the circuit of dominant off. Now let's see dominant on. So this is my PB1, this is PB2, this is my relay K1, and this two limit switch will sense K1, and this is my solenoid Y1. So this is the solution of the circuit. You can take a screenshot if you like. Now let's see in the fluid sim software. First I need a double acting cylinder. Now I need a 5x2 DCV whose right side will be spring returned and left side will be solenoid operated. And I also need compressor and two exhaust. Okay, the pneumatic part is done. Let's draw the electrical part now. This is my 24 volt, this is my 0 volt. First let's do the dominant off. I have a normally open push button and I have a normally closed push button. Let's connect this. I need a relay coil also. This is my relay and I need a push button. I need another limit switch, and finally I need a solenoid. So this is my push button 1, this is my push button 2, this is my relay coil K1. This two limit switch will sense K1, and this solenoid will be Y1, and the left side of this 5x2 DCV will sense Y1. Okay, so let's stimulate. Okay, just clicking the PB1 push button. See, the signal is latched. The circuit is activated. this cylinder is not retracting due to its spring because latching circuit is in play. See, from 24 volt K1 is closed, PB2 push button is normally closed, K1 is energized, and because of that this K1 push button also closes and the solenoid is energized. Now clicking PB2 push button and the cylinder goes to its initial position. Now clicking both PB1 and PB2. With that, the dominant off concept will be clear to you. Pressing PB1 and also pressing PB2. See, the circuit is deactivated. So this is dominant off. Now let's see the dominant on concept. Okay, now let's simulate. So pressing PB1, the circuit will latch, and pressing PB2, the circuit will get deactivated. Perfect. Now let's push both the push buttons. Pressing push button 1, also pressing push button 2. See, the circuit is still active because PB1 is making the connection and K1 is energizing. This is the dominant on concept. I hope you got a good understanding on the latching concept, including dominant on and dominant off. If you have any confusion regarding this, then please write in the comment. I'll try my best to address your confusion. And that's all for this video. See you in the next one. Allah Hafiz.